Guys, it's Jen. This is another Jen is Zen episode of Reframing Me. In these short bits, I give you something to meditate on or journal about. Today, I'd like you to think about this. What is one small step that you can take today towards your impossible? Like many of you, I'm guessing, I am obsessed with the Olympics, which is funny because I did not grow up in an Olympics house. I wasn't a little girl who was dreaming of being Mary Lou Retton when she grew up. I don't even remember watching the Olympics, but as an adult, I can tell you that I am dreaming of being Simone or Gabby or Alana when I grow up. Oh, sorry. For those of you who may not be, as close of friends with them, I, of course, mean U.S. gymnast Simone Biles and sprinter Gabby Thomas and rugby player Alona Mar. I'm just, on a first name basis with them. Seriously, though, the parasocial relationships that I have developed with these Olympians is intense. And the interest that I have picked up in the most random sports is absurd. And I'm going to be honest and say that I am not sure how I will handle the post-Olympic letdown that I'm fairly certain is to come. Like, who am I without the Olympics? To watch and to think about and to talk about. What did I do with my time before this? I think that the thing I've especially appreciated this time around has been the breadth of events and the range, or maybe the span of the athletes. I just love seeing how successful they are and feeling like I have the privilege of watching them fulfill their dreams and attain their goals. But even more so, I love seeing how they are all amazingly talented and extremely successful, yet they are all so very different. They're different in body type and skill set and backgrounds, and yet they all are at the top of their game, the height of their specialization. Like, Simone is the absolute GOAT in gymnastics. I mean, how many moves or elements does she have named after her? Like 5, I think. But I wonder, could she play water polo or rugby or ride a horse or swim? How is Gabby at fencing? Or can Alana do gymnastics? Could any of them play badminton like those Olympians who are playing badminton? I mean, they said on it that the shuttles go like over 200 miles per hour. I mean, just how? But those women, they don't need to be, because they are specialists and they don't feel threatened by each other just because the others are good at something else. The other athletes' successes don't take away from their successes. They can all be successful simultaneously. It's okay. Their successes are no less valid or less special than someone else's simply because the other exists. And I love that. And they're all so supportive of each other, even when they are literally competing with each other in the same event. Honestly, it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Lifting each other up, celebrating each other's successes without any of it invalidating their own successes. They're out there focused on themselves and on what they are doing, that they are doing their best and celebrating others who are also doing their best. And then it's like you look at all of the different countries. Some countries are consistently strong in one event or one sport, and others are consistently strong in an entirely different event or sport. And some countries are just happy to be represented. It's literally beautiful. And it really made me think about how much better we would all be if we could approach life in the same way. I know I personally try to do that with my children. I have one who's a total math kid, math whiz, like getting through AP Calc like it's nothing, but yet world history was a complete struggle for him. And another who is the total opposite, AP World and Gov and American history, any social studies, you name it, he knows it. I have a question about any country in the Olympics and he knows where it is. He knows the flag. He knows all about it. So many facts and so much info. But math, it's not his thing. And then my daughter, she is good at school across the board, but her strength really lies in how social she is. She excels, literally knows everyone, comfortable with everyone. She's fine if left to talk with an adult or a toddler or anyone in between, a people person, if I have ever seen one. They're all different. They all excel in their own way. And it doesn't take away from any of their strengths that the others are strong in their areas. They're all kind. They're all hard workers and good people. They're all responsible and smart and talented, but they can still each have their specialties. And the amazing thing about people is that we can each have specialties. We can be good at our thing. We can be the best at something, and yet it doesn't take anything away from someone else's accomplishment. And in a similar way, there's room at the top for everyone to excel and everyone to succeed. One person's success or strength isn't your failure, and it doesn't take away from you or your success to celebrate someone else's success. And it doesn't mean that you can't still succeed. It's the effort. It's the hard work. Putting in the effort and putting in the work is what will get you where you want to be and make the impossible possible. There's an ad running during the Olympics and, I have it on constantly and it's always going kind of in the background and I'm paying attention here and there, but I actually looked it up to make sure that I got it right. And to my surprise, it's a Toyota ad. I did not realize that. I thought it was an ad for like the Olympics. So good job, Toyota, at getting it in my head and resonating with me so much. Yay. But unfortunately, the tie to the brand is a bit weak. I had no idea that that's what it was for. But anyway, the ad says, start your impossible. And that message is just so good. Start your impossible. Everything is impossible until it isn't. And the way you get there is the little steps each day that are possible, but that they get you closer and closer to that impossible. And eventually you'll reach it and make the impossible possible. 2 years ago, right now, I was still contemplating this podcast. I was brainstorming, and the thought of having listeners and being successful was just something that I thought was impossible. And having listeners in 51 different countries, I looked it up in my stats. 51 countries, people just like me and just like you, all over the world, 51 different countries with different backgrounds and leading different lives. We all have a common string that connects us. We have common feelings and needs and experiences that this podcast and this community speaks to. But 2 years ago, that seemed impossible. And you know what? 2 years ago, that wasn't possible. But just because something isn't possible right now or right then doesn't make it impossible. There's a huge difference between not possible and impossible. Yet often we don't distinguish. And many times we dismiss things as being, oh, that's impossible. When in actuality, it's just not possible at this moment or in this situation. But 2 years ago, getting started, recording a podcast episode was possible. And then recording another episode was possible. And another. And starting a social media account. And setting up a website. And each step got me closer to where I am right now, a place that didn't seem possible then. Now, when I look ahead to my goals, the goals that I have that may seem impossible, now I realize that they're actually not possible right now. But I'm able to look and see what the next step is that is possible, that is going to get me closer to that goal. And I know that I can do it because I've already reached this point. One of the reasons that I like fitness, I mean, there are like a million reasons that I love fitness, and I would tell you that you absolutely should too. But one of the reasons that I love fitness is that if you put in the work, little steps, consistently, one at a time, the impossible becomes possible. And you can see it. You can see the progress and realize that, yes, you in fact can. Maybe you couldn't that day, but look at that. Now I can actually do it. And you can use that success to fuel yourself towards your next goal. So no, maybe you can't go out and run a half marathon or lose 30 pounds like right now, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. What can you do? Maybe you can walk for 30 minutes or set out on a 2-mile walk/run where you do significantly more walking than running. And then the next time, maybe that walk-run ratio is a little bit less, and then a little bit less. And you know what? Eventually, and maybe it takes months, but eventually you can run 2 miles and you're like, oh my God, I couldn't run like 5 minutes. And now I'm running 2 miles without stopping. So you take that accomplishment and you use it. You aim towards a 5K maybe. I mean, if you can do 2 miles, you can certainly do 3.1. And then you use that to propel yourself to a 10K. And well, at that point, you know what? You have become a runner. And all of a sudden, that half marathon seems really hard, seems difficult, challenging. Yes, totally. But you know what it's not? It's not impossible. Life is a series of possibles that knock down those impossibles. It's when we only look at the big goal and see where we are today that we see it as being impossible. Sure, if you went out to run that half marathon today, you probably couldn't do it. I mean, if you're not a runner already. But if you instead look at what you can do, you're one step closer. Maybe it's a business dream that seems impossible, or a home you'd like to purchase, or a vacation you'd like to take, or a promotion you'd like to get. Or maybe you want a relationship with your teen or your spouse or a parent, a relationship that right now, today, just feels impossible. But what if it's not? What if the relationship you want or the goal you have is just not possible today? Can you make that small change in the narrative and reframe impossible as not possible today? And when you do that, can you look at it and see what is possible today? What small step can you do that gets you a bit closer to your impossible? Thank you so much for listening today and always. If you've enjoyed the show, please share it with your friends. That's how we'll grow our community. Find me on socials. It's Reframing Me everywhere. Until next time, be well and communicate.